downstream of where we're doing any work, and then piped all around the area where the heavy equipment is operating, and so that it can flow back into the creek so we can maintain the habitat for fish downstream. The trick is to do that also then still without creating a lot of really muddy water, turbid water down there. I was very happy with how our contractors set up the dewatering. The outflow from the pipe was situated on a gravel bar. We had a padded mat under the outflow so that the water wasn't actually coming into the creek with such force that it stirred up a lot of sediment. We are gonna grade this bank back so that it has a gradual slope. And what we're going to do is actually grade so we don't have to remove any trees right next to the creek. We're going to grade down as far as we can to where we don't hit basically to the elevation of the crown, right where the trunk meets the ground, so we don't disturb the roots.
Rather than cutting or removing all the trees, Carolyn and the designers tried to just limb or cut as little as possible, but also leave like the root masses along the banks. You can see here that there are some willows that have been cut, but they're really sprouting right now. So I'm sure in a couple of years we'll have a fairly nice canopy cover over across the creek.
Our original plans called for going back 70 feet because that's a really good width for bird habitat, so that over time as the riparian vegetation came back in, it'd be a pretty good dense area.
Only in the last decade have we really appreciated how important the role of trees were along the riverbank, not just as habitat, but in creating the form of the river. When trees growing on the riverbank would fall into the channel, create eddies, places where fish could hang out. They would change the hydraulics of the flows, affect how floods spread out over floodplains. In fact, the general practice was to see trees falling in creeks as a hindrance to fish passage, something you get rid of. But it wasn't understood how important these were to fish habitat. What we've tried to do here is, in our design, is recreate those kind of structures that would have occurred in the natural creek 100 years ago. We're very fortunate on this project that there was a readily available source of large wood of a size that would have occurred in those creeks naturally. And it's kind of funny that the wood that was used was actually exotic eucalyptus that was being removed because it shouldn't, it's not a native tree. But it turned out to have a value, after all, to help restore the natural ecosystem.
However you angle a log through here, the water will meet it at 90 degrees and it'll fire at a 90-degree angle. So if we put it at an angle like across here, the water's going to come and hit it and fire at a 90-degree angle in relation to that log. So we know how we can direct where we're going to get the scour on the edge of the pool. The other value is that the coho not only want really good pools, they want cover. And with the root wads, they get some of that added cover. And the other thing that'll be happening over time is that other woods that's washed downstream will build up around there. And to us, it looks messy. To them, this is $1 million real estate. This engineered log structure is the star of this restoration project. It was designed by a consultant working with Phil Williams at the time, Tim Abbey, who's a well-known geomorphologist who has figured out how to make log structures look very natural, be very complex, and stabilized without any artificial components such as cables or boulders. The fact that it's so complex means that we achieve multiple goals all in a single log structure. The log structures help the creek scour out the pool.